declared writing of the petition. Then acceptance, who can petition, where you can petition. Now it is made very simple. The petitioner can do, the respondent can make the petition placed in that tribunal, or thirdly where most of the proofs can be collected. 3 ways, very simple. Earlier it was more complicated. We have to get the consent of judicial vicar, all that. Holy Father said, no need of all this. Where the girl is, you can approach that court. Where the boy is, you can approach that court. Or where most of the evidence is, that court also you can be approached. Made it very, very simple. Then the next is sending summons to the respondents. Next stage is the ground must be decided. The joinder of the issue, on what ground they want to take it. That is the next stage. Then the case is decided. We are going to examine this case on the basis of force. For example, forced consent. Next stage is collection of proofs. Next stage is publication of the acts. All that you have collected, you have to show to the parties. Some serious cases you may withhold, but then generally publication of the acts. And then finally judgment. It may take many days, but canon law itself already holds the law. Before 1983 law said within 1 year you have to finish a case normally. So earlier it was said, even if it is first court says it is negative, I mean the marriage is invalid, it has to be automatically sent to the Archdiocese tribunal. Now Holy Father said no need. If here they say marriage is invalid, if there is no appeal, the parties are free to remarry. Very much simplified. In addition, the Holy Father said some marriages are really invalid. No need of all these long procedures. Everything can be done within a matter of 45 days in the brief process. Within 45 days. But in this case, the bishop is asked to make the judgment, take the final decision. Of course, bishop may not be a canonist. The canonist must assist the bishop. If within 1 day collect all the proofs and then give the parties the right of defense, and then that is called the briefer process for some serious case. You know that it is very, very clear that it was forced marriage. Next day itself she came out. Or she was cheated. She was already having a child, she did not tell. Very first day itself he found out, he came away. This is a very clear case of cheating. Cheating by the woman or cheating by them. The woman met with accident, became sterile, or man became impotent. Everybody knows it. The bishop knows it. It's a clear case of invalid marriage. Short time living together. In these cases, now Holy Father has newly introduced briefer process which can be settled in a matter of even 45 days. Having compassion. The judicial vicar, the judge who acts in the name of the bishop must decide this deserves a briefer process, this deserves a longer process. This is the way it has to be, very much simplified. Very much simplified. Yes.
Both the boy and girl are Catholics.
Yeah.
And both are eligible age for marriage.
Yes.
So either one of the parents or both the parents don't agree for this marriage.
Yeah.
And they are age and they come to us to bless the marriage.
Yeah. What to do? You yourself, that's all, no?
Yes.
Yeah. You know, the consent of the parents is needed according to canon law only when they are minors in civil law. Even now, canonical age for marriage remains 16-14. For boy, 16. Suppose you bless a marriage of a 16-year-old boy with a 14-year-old girl. The marriage is canonically valid, civilly invalid. You have to face the music in front of civil law. If you are arrested, you face. Canonical age for marriage is 16-14. Same canon law says, when you have to bless a marriage which is not valid in civil law, you have to get the permission of your local ordinary. Bishop will not give permission when it is not valid in civil law. That is it. Consent of the parents will come only for the lawfulness of the marriage, not for the validity of the marriage. And if you are parish priest, now suppose you go ahead with the marriage, since both are major, there is no problem. Canonically valid, civilly valid. But how you have to deal with the parents, how to persuade them, make them understand, that is your master problem. Marriage is civilly valid, canonically valid.
Prenuptial inquiry we have.
Yeah.
Do your parents agree for this marriage?
Yeah. If they don't agree also, you can bless, provided they are major. That is to give us whether maybe the boy doesn't know the girl fully, girl doesn't know the boy, to give us the assurance. That is not requirement for validity, even for lawfulness. So this question is asked in India, keeping in mind our context of arranged marriages, where the girl may be cheated. This question will not be imaginable in Western Europe. They will make fun of you. Do the parents agree for the marriage? Why did you ask question? The girl may slap the parents. I am going to marry. Why do you ask that question? They will say. In the context of India, far as to say that no problem like that. Okay, yes, father. Oh, okay. Father didn't get a chance. Next, you can come. The other father, second question also. Yes.
At least 4 to 5 cases every year we are ready.
Yeah.
We have 10 cases now.
Yes, yes.
And most of the cases are civilly diverse,
Yeah.
but they produce mutual divorce. Mutually they get divorce.
Yeah.
When
By mutual consent. Yeah.
coming to the tribunal, they come, they give the petition as a no consent,
Yeah.
which cannot be easily proved. And most of the times, either the petitioner side or the respondent side, priests and religious are there. So easy to
Yeah.
get, and I mean, apply to the tribunal.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. So now one of the problems is civil law recognizes separation, divorce. Canon law, so with regard to, yeah, it would be a fundamental point from which you will agree. That's good. Now, all marriages are indissoluble in principle. 3 kinds of degrees of indissolubility is there. 3 kinds of indissolubility. All marriages, church stands by the principle, all marriages are indissoluble. Even a marriage between 2 Hindus, we stand by the principle. There is a bond, natural bond, according to their form, they have married indissolubly. Second degree, sacramental marriages receive a firmness of indissolubility. What is a sacramental marriage? Many do not know. Valid marriage, not between 2 Catholics, valid marriage between 2 baptized, Even 2 Protestant marry in their church is a sacrament. 2 Protestants marry in their church, it is a sacrament. Valid marriage. Valid. 2 Catholics marry in the civil court without our knowledge. It is not a sacrament because it is not a valid marriage. Civilly it is valid. Canonically it is invalid because what is missing? Consent is there, no impediment is there, canonical form is missing. So it is not a valid marriage. So sacramental. Then absolute indissolubility, sacramental or ratum and consummated marriages. Absolutely indissoluble. It is the highest grade. Only for this there is no exception. For this there is no exception. So now, if one of the Hindu parties want to marry, receive baptism, what we call Pauline privilege, or there was a disparity of cult, Catholic and Hindu married with a disparity of cult. So Petrine privilege, you can again separate it. Petrine privilege or favor of faith, we can again separate because the Pauline privilege at the local level, Petrine privilege from the Holy Father. But the problem, no, sacramental and non-consummated, again you can separate. Sacramental, that is what? Ratum et non consumatum marriages, because they did not live together, they did not consummate the marriage, they can separate. So what cannot be separated is sacramental and consummated marriages. In the cases Father was telling, they are presumed to be sacramental and consummated. In other words, valid marriage. Civil law has given separation. And canonically, Father is struggling to prove that consent is invalid. Everything consent is okay only. How to find a ground? How to find a ground for declaring the marriage invalid? So they say by mutual. That's why in the history of the church, the parties were collaborating with each other to declare the marriage. You go with that man, I go with this woman. Like that. That's why in the history of the church, the 18th century, defender of the bond was created. Defender on behalf of the sacrament of ordination and marriage was created. His duty is to argue in favor of the validity of the sacrament. That's why. But if you are not able to find the ground, it is difficult. But an intelligent canonist can give them new life by making use of discretion, due discretion of judgment, inability to assume the obligation, especially 1095 paragraph 2 and 3. After all, they are already separated. Somehow find the ways and means, not to dilute the law, but then see in why the marriage failed. If you can find a ground, you can. But if you cannot find the ground, we cannot. Ground is only, I said very clearly, no canonical form. There was an impediment which was not dispensed. And then in consent area only, you have to see, surely they did not believe in permanence. That is the reason they married. The reason for their marrying is they did not, even that can be a ground. There are so many grounds. So you have to find out, examine thoroughly 1095 to 1104, whether it comes under any of this. If you think that they are really marrying another partner only for convenience sake, then it is difficult. So most of the time it is. Now what the Holy Father says, parish level there should be a parish committee, a family committee, diocese level, regional level. This committee should examine the case. Those who taught catechism will give report. All these are pre-stages to help the tribunal to arrive at their right decision. I understand so many candidates say, canonically I don't find any ground. Civilly they can have even mutual consent. But what can we do? So many people are helped. Try your level best. I am sympathetic to you. That's all. But you can always, a good canonist, not that you are a bad canonist, canonists who want to help the people, because irretrievably already broken, you can find some ground. That's it. Yes, Father. Father, you are okay. We'll give him also. Father, okay, you are second case. Sorry.
I have a case in your parish.
Yeah. No.
Not married legally.
Yeah.
And in the church.
Yes.
No children they had. Then the girl ran away from the house.
Yeah.
And then parents hid for some time, and parents also their girl's parents. Now don't know where that girl is at all. Then after some years, the boy's parents saw her, searched for her, did not find her where she is. They got married to another woman. And they
First marriage also there was no marriage, only
marriage. First marriage was married in the church.
Married in the church, okay.
And then case was like this. Now they are asking for rectification of the marriage because they got a child, and they are asking for rectification of marriage and baptism for the child.
Okay. So now your question is, what about the first wife who ran away?
She is not found. Parents are not there. Don't know from the village where she got married.
Whether she died or not, you do not know.
No, don't know. Neither in village, but this village you know, that we also don't know.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So there is a section in the canon law on presumption of death cases. Okay. Okay. So this is the section. You can, if you are sure that the person is there, you cannot do anything. Canon 17:7 says like this for you. Whenever the death of the spouse cannot be proved by authentic ecclesiastical or civil document, the other spouse is not regarded as free from the bond of marriage. Okay. And until the diocesan bishop has issued a declaration that death is presumed. So she went to Velangani, she ran away and went with somebody to Velangani. Tsunami was there, nobody returned, so she is also presumed to be dead, like that. Who has to declare that she is dead? Only with the death of the party you can be free to marry another person. So that is clear. Then the diocesan bishop can give the declaration. After making suitable investigation, he has reached moral certainty concerning the death of the spouse from the deposition of witnesses, from hearsay and from other indication. The mere absence of the spouse, no matter how long a period, is not sufficient. The mere absence alone, no matter how long a period, is not sufficient. And then finally, in uncertain and involved cases, the bishop must consult the Holy See. So now you have to declare the first marriage invalid. It is divine law. The mere absence alone we cannot. That is, one thing is absent. Another case, first after the honeymoon, they went by two-wheeler. The woman broke from the two-wheeler, broke her back, lifelong she is bedridden. The sister is wanting to marry the husband with the consent of the wife only. Divine law we cannot have. Only pray that one who is bedridden dies soon. Otherwise, no, we cannot have that. Only one day slept. On the other hand, another person slept for 1 year before the marriage. We did not know. After marriage, they did not have relationship. Then they can appeal to the Holy Father, non-consummated marriage, and get it disowned. Even though they consummated all the goal, so all that you do before the match begins are not counted. Okay. So that is the problem. In this case, you yourself know it is divine law. Absence doesn't break the divine law. You only that if you presume that there is death, then bishop has to declare after suitable investigation.
That means you cannot rectify the marriage.
No, you cannot rectify the marriage unless you, as you say, she is presumed to be dead. For that you can try. Yeah. Okay. Another person is. Okay. The moderator will say, "Come, moderator." Then it is easy. Where is another moderator? You come. Who has to ask? Because otherwise I will be considered partial. Within one day I don't know anybody.
No, you need
Moderator.
In India, there are many.
You are asking questions, don't ask questions. After all of them finish. No, I asked you to allot them. Who has to ask? I did not ask the moderator.
Then you will not have time for other subject, I think, because there is so many questions.
Yeah, because this is an important area. Maybe you determine the number of questions. Determine on the person. Many are raising hands. Please look at them. The new person especially, and give them chance. Sometimes one or two people should not hijack the whole show. Yeah, okay.
Father, I have just few doubts.
Few doubts. Many questions.
Clarification.
Father, you regulate Father.
Would you throw some more light on this Pauline privilege and pension privilege? And also I have one more. Okay, in a relationship, which is actually an abusive relationship, a partner wants to get out of the marriage, but the other partner is not cooperating with the partner who wants to get out of the marriage. Even though the marriage appeared to be a kind of canonically valid marriage.
Okay. So now we don't have time to deal with each of these canons. For example, about ratified and non-consummated marriages, Canon 1141 and 1142 speak about it. Afterwards you can know it. Now with regard to Pauline privilege, it is said in 1143 onwards to 1147. Afterwards you can read it, you will understand. Canons 1143 to 1147. Even in the mobile you have the canons 1143 to 1147. This favor of faith, Petrine privilege, in this case is only non-sacramental marriage. First of all, favor of faith is only non-sacramental marriage. Dissolution of a non-sacramental marriage by the Holy Father is called the Petrine privilege. How is it different from Pauline privilege? Pauline privilege is also a non-sacramental marriage, but the marriage originally took place between two non-baptized persons. Favor of faith can be one baptized person, one non-baptized person also. So, because of baptism, the person has a problem. Paul said, because of his embracing Christ, he should not be a compulsory celibate. So, ask the other party, do you want to live with this person peacefully, without offense to the Creator? If he says no, in that case, by the very fact of your marrying another person, baptized person, then your first marriage is annulled. Because of baptism, you have a certain difficulty. So this is called Pauline privilege. So in both these cases, I said about church separation, church declaring the marriage invalid. The civil law recognizes our marriage. Civil law does not recognize our dissolution or annulment. Please note it very clearly. Civil law does not recognize the annulment given by the church court or the separation given even by the Pope. So, in order to bless a new marriage, you should always go for civil freedom, civil divorce or civil nullity, whatever it may be. So, to bless a new marriage, you need both the things. Church must declare the marriage invalid. You can give money also and get the civil divorce. So church must declare the marriage invalid or dissolved, and civil law also must declare the marriage invalid. Only when you are civilly free and canonically free, you can go for a new marriage. New marriage. So briefly, with regard to Pauline privilege, new persons, Father, look for the new persons.
You said only death can separate.
Yes.
Now, in the modern age, there are various kinds of death. There is moral death, there is psychic death, there is brain death. I see Kerala considers only the physical death.
Yes.
So therefore, what's the church understanding of it?
Okay. So canon law considers only physical death, but it considers psychic death at the time of marriage. What matters is what happened at the time of marriage and before marriage. What happens after marriage may prove that what happened before marriage. For example, so today marriage is taking place. Both are normal. Both know what it means to be a husband and wife. Afterwards, because of certain difficulty, they fail. That is completely another matter. So for the separation of the bond, it is only physical death that matters. If the person was psychologically dead at the time of marriage, then it was no marriage at all. It was no marriage at all. So the canon law doesn't. So subsequent to the marriage, the person is brain dead or in coma, still you continue to be the spouse of that person. I remember a little story which you might have heard. An elderly man was saying, he was having some wound, and he was asking the nurse to have the dressing soon. The nurse asked, why are you in a hurry? No, it is 8:30. Every day I have breakfast with my wife at 8:45. So what happened to your wife? She is suffering from Alzheimer's disease. She can't recognize anybody. She is in that nursing home. After all, whether you go at 8:30 or 9:30, what does it matter? She does not recognize you, no. The man said, she does not recognize me, but I recognize her, no. That's why I want to have breakfast with her. So, psychological death afterwards, your spouse was alive. On that lifelong commitment, we have to say, but as of now, the church doesn't consider. Psychological death. It doesn't allow even euthanasia. It doesn't allow any kinds of thing. These people may be gone cases, but only when physically the person is dead, the bond is broken.
Jesus accepted moral death
Yeah.
and said on that basis,
Yeah.
divorce can be given. No?
Yeah.
Then the church sees only one aspect of the marriage, that it's lifelong commitment. And, when even Jesus himself in the Sermon on the Mount,
Yeah.
it's there.
Yeah. So that the interpretation are except for unchastity. What is this unchastity? So different scholars define in different ways. So the whole thing is what happened before marriage, and again I repeat my same words, at the time of marriage. So was the marriage contracted validly? So after 10 years also, 15 years also, we can trace back a marriage, invalid marriage, people living together, even after 15 years it is marriage only. I want to cite another case for example. A woman said, my husband is morally dead because he is going here and there like that. Now I want to marry somebody, so I want you to give divorce, she asked it. But then she brought 5 little children. 5 little children. The judge asked her, how long are you separated from your husband? For the last 10 years. But the children, 1 9, 1 7, 1 3, one was in the hand also. Last 10 years you are separated from your husband. But then how is it that you have 5 little children? But father, he used to come once in a way to ask pardon. Yeah, every time he came to ask pardon, there was a child. That means, father, he is not dead. She forgave him. She forgave him. Was happy with him. Otherwise, 5 children would not have been there. We should know the seriousness of it. Moral dead, okay. But was he morally dead at the time of marriage? Or can you trace back the moral death to the time of marriage? That's what the church is concerned about. From some of the behaviors after the marriage, we can always say the person was morally dead, could not give the judgment, make the decision, could not assume the obligation at the time of marriage. That is the task of the canon lawyer, to trace back to the time of marriage. Otherwise, the church allows separation while the bond remains. When the person is morally dead, there is one whole section, last part, separation while the bond remains. When there is harm to you, or when your partner committed adultery, it is encouraged that you forgive that person. At the same time, if you don't want to forgive him, you can cut off from him. But bond remains, but you cannot marry again. Or when there is threat to your practice of faith, threat to your life, you can cut off from him. Here also the church does not say the moral death of the person results in the death of the marriage. The church only says you have the right to be separated. That's what the church says. Okay.
Last question. Mercy is central to Bible.
Yeah.
It's not only central being and last whole year we have celebrated.
Yeah.
Mercy aspect in Jesus also is very merciful. Most of our divorce cases, either civilly or by the judge, are irrevocable. We know that.
Yeah.
And but you said the third one, Rathum Consumatum is done. No?
Yeah.
So,
Because of the holy fathers. Yeah.
Most of the cases are of that. Now through this process, canonical process, these canons have to find only the reasons that are not true.
I did not say we should not find out here. See, this was, you can't arrive at a compromise, upholding divine law and man-made law because of the difficulty. For example, leaving aside marriage, our own priestly life. There are difficulties after becoming a priest. For the rarest of rare cases, you are dispensed from it, though it is not a divine law. It is not a divine law. There is no integral connection between priesthood and marriage. You promised. Now, what is important is to the salvation of souls. But from divine law, you cannot give a dispensation. That is the problem. I understand the problem. Because of mercy, all those who are divorced and remarried, you allow them means, what is the consequence? Social consequence. Every day there will be divorce. You see a beautiful girl in the office, that is next day a divorce.